The journey we call life is a constant oscillation between states of intense action and profound repose. Yet within that repose, the daily surrender to sleep, lies one of the universe's most carefully guarded secrets, a subtle yet powerful mechanism for self-restoration that transcends mere physiological recuperation. Since time immemorial, wise men and mystical traditions have intuited that the night is not simply a time when the physical machinery shuts down, but rather a dynamic, active phase, where the spirit, unburdened by the demands of the waking world, engages in its own essential work of repair and realignment. The ancients viewed sleep not as an absence of being, but as a temporary silent return to the source, a journey the immortal soul undertakes to recalibrate and cleanse the delicate energy fields that daily interaction inevitably pollutes or depletes. Within this nightly transcendence, certain conscious actions, particularly the deliberate positioning of the hands, were recognized as keys, simple yet profound gestures that could amplify this natural restorative process, guiding the flow of the life force with focused intent. This brings us directly to the scientific and spiritual insights of Allan Kardec, the great observer and codifier of spiritual phenomena, who systematically articulated the underlying laws governing this energetic dynamic. Kardec understood that the body is inherently the spirit's most refined instrument, and that every posture, every focus of attention, and every fluidic current adheres strictly to universal laws. He did not speak of blind faith or miraculous intervention, but of the logical, universal mechanics of spiritual reality, rooted in the existence and manipulation of a primal, subtle substance he termed the universal cosmic fluid. This fluid, in its partially condensed form, is the very vital fluid that animates and sustains every living being, forming the ethereal connection between the immaterial spirit and the physical material body. It is this fluidic connection, housed within the perispirit, the semi-material body or fluidic envelope of the spirit, that is directly impacted by our thoughts, intentions, and crucially, by the deliberate direction of energy during the hours of silent rest. The simple conscious gesture of positioning the hands during sleep, as taught by these ancient principles and implicitly supported by Kardec's fluidic theory, becomes a profound act of self-mastery, transforming an otherwise unconscious necessity into a potent opportunity for deep, essential spiritual and energetic hygiene. This practice is fundamentally about remembering the coherence between our physical vessel and our spiritual essence, enabling the spirit to efficiently utilize the hours of rest for true, vital restoration, ensuring that we wake not only physically rested, but energetically fortified and morally rebalanced. To truly appreciate the power of intentional rest, we must delve into the concept of the perispirit, a cornerstone of Allan Kardec's doctrinal teachings, which serves as the fluidic link, the intermediary body, connecting the immaterial spirit to the dense, organic, physical body. This perispirit is composed of the universal cosmic fluid in a state of semi-materialization, and it acts as the primary conduit for all sensory perception, emotional transmission, and most importantly here, the exchange of vital fluid necessary for life and health. During our waking hours, the spirit through the perispirit constantly interacts with the material world. And this interaction, compounded by the friction of moral struggles, anxious thoughts, unresolved emotions, and the cumulative fatigue of the physical body, causes wear and tear not just on the physical frame, but on the delicate fluidic fabric of the perispirit itself. Sleep, therefore, is far more than a physical necessity. It represents a temporary emancipation of the soul, a period when the perispirit relaxes its strict adherence to the physical body. In this state of relative detachment, the spirit can more easily disengage from the physical organs and enter into a state of communion with other spirits and higher spheres of existence, or simply dedicate its energies to the internal process of repair. This nightly interval allows the spirit, often unknowingly to the waking mind, to absorb necessary replenishments of vital fluid from the universal reservoir, or to effect a localized reorganization of fluidic energies within the perispirit where imbalances or fluidic deficiencies exist, areas that often manifest later as physical or emotional symptoms. This restorative process is significantly enhanced when the physical instrument, the body, is placed in a state of deliberate, profound receptivity signaling to the spirit and the surrounding energy fields that the channel is open and ready to receive harmonizing forces. The conscious positioning of the hands acts as a physical anchor for the spirit's nocturnal work, a deliberate non-verbal instruction that says restoration is the priority. Without this conscious alignment, the spirit, while still undergoing some degree of repair, may be more prone to the chaotic influences of disorganized thought or involuntary energetic dispersal, which is why we sometimes wake up feeling heavy or unrestored despite many hours of sleep. The workshop of the soul is always active, but our intention, symbolized by the serene disposition of the hands, provides the light and the order for the deepest, most efficient fluidic repair. The recognition of the hands as crucial energy centers is a thread woven through countless healing practices across millennia, a profound uniformity of understanding that Allan Kardec's framework helps to explain not mystically but scientifically through the lens of fluidic exteriorization. In the context of Spiritism and its historical precursor, mesmerism, the human body is understood to be a constant radiator and condenser of vital fluid, and the hands serve as the most natural, potent and easily controlled terminals for the direction and projection of this force. Every nerve ending, every pore, and particularly the palms, functions as a minute aperture through which the fluidic energy housed in the perispirit can be consciously or unconsciously directed outward. This is the very mechanism utilized in fluidic passes, magnetic healing, and the laying on of hands, practices Kardec meticulously documented as demonstrations of the fluid's tangible, though invisible, action. Therefore, when we look upon our hands, we are not just seeing tools of physical labor. We are looking at sophisticated instruments capable of transmitting mental intention solidified into fluidic currents. Within the palm lies a map of the internal system, and ancient wisdom often saw lines and mounts as correlating to the health and state of various internal organs or emotional centers. When these hands are intentionally placed together or upon the body, they move beyond simple touch and become deliberate directors of the fluidic circuit. By uniting them, we create a fluidic battery, a self-contained system that stops the outward dispersal of personal energy and focuses the circulating vital fluid inward, directing it back to the spirit's core, where it can be utilized for deep, systemic repair. Kardec's teachings underline that this capability is universal. The effectiveness is not a result of a supernatural gift, but of the individual's moral purity, strength of will, and focused, compassionate intention, the very qualities enhanced by the nightly practice. Understanding the hands as these sacred, powerful terminals allows us to engage in the nightly rest with a depth of respect and purpose, transforming a passive action into an active, focused participation in our own energetic harmony, channeling the forces of life back toward equilibrium. Allan Kardec's most significant contribution to the subject of subtle energy lies in his synthesis of animal magnetism, the fluidic practices of mesmer, with spiritual influence, creating a cohesive, rational framework that elevates the simple transmission of force to a moral act. Kardec's studies illuminated that all fluidic action, whether emanating from a human being or from a spiritual entity, obeys strict natural laws. He taught that magnetism, or the ability to manipulate the universal cosmic fluid, is a universal faculty inherent in all incarnate beings. The key distinction he drew was the quality of the fluid transmitted, which is inextricably linked to the moral and mental state of the transmitter. Animal magnetism, in its simplest form, involves the simple transfer of vital fluid from one person, the magnetizer, to another, the magnetized, to restore a localized deficiency, a process primarily physical. However, Kardec demonstrated that the fluid radiated by a person is instantaneously modified, refined, or degraded by the thought, feeling, and moral character of the individual. A pure, loving, and focused thought acts like a purifying filter, imbuing the fluid with benevolent, harmonizing spiritual energies, thereby transforming it into spiritual magnetism. This spiritual magnetism, which carries the force of pure intention and moral elevatedness, is infinitely more potent than the simple physical fluid transfer because it acts directly on the perispirit, restoring moral as well as fluidic imbalance. In the context of the nightly hand placement, we are not magnetizing an external party, but rather engaging in a profound act of self-magnetization. By placing the hands with serenity and an intent toward peaceful coherence, we are silently instructing our own spirit to use the fluidic terminals, the hands, to direct pure, spiritually charged fluid back into the self, bypassing the chaotic noise of the waking ego. This practice is therefore not merely energetic, it is an exercise in moral discipline. It requires the surrender of daily anxieties and the elevation of thought to a state of receptive calm, ensuring that the fluid being circulated is of the highest, most restorative quality. The true power, as Kardec would affirm, is not the physical position, but the quality of the internal dialogue that guides the fluid. The principle of creating a closed circuit with the hands, whether by joining the palms or resting them upon the body's centers, is a pragmatic and profound exercise in energy conservation and intelligent fluidic management, a concept easily understood through the laws of physics applied to Kardec's fluidic model. The vital fluid, while theoretically inexhaustible in the universe, is finite within an individual's reservoir. Throughout the day, this fluid is spent not only in physical movement and metabolic processes, but prodigiously through emotional volatility, mental exhaustion, and especially through energetic dispersal, the unconscious radiating of our personal energy outward into the environment. When the hands are left open and unconnected, or the mind is engaged in stressful, externally focused activity, the fluidic envelope, the perispirit, is constantly hemorrhaging energy, leading to that profound sense of depletion felt at the end of a long, difficult day. The act of uniting the hands, however, is a physical command that signals the spirit to close the external flow and redirect all available energy into an internal, circular motion. It is an energetic recycling process. When the hands are placed over key energy centers, such as the cardiac plexus, heart center, or the solar plexus, seat of emotions, they serve as fluidic condensers, gathering and focusing the circulating life force directly into the body's most crucial points of spiritual and emotional command. This deliberate action helps to cease the internal friction and dispersal that occur when the spirit is agitated. The energy that would otherwise be lost is instead gathered and utilized for systemic harmonization, the repair of tiny fluidic lesions, and the restoration of equilibrium between the various energy centers. This is akin to turning off all unnecessary drains in a house to ensure maximum water pressure in a single essential fixture. Kardec taught that fluidic passes, the external application of magnetism, work by compensating for a local deficiency. But in this nightly, self-imposed, closed circuit, the spirit is efficiently performing its own compensation, ensuring that the existing fluid is not wasted, but is actively employed in restoring the natural, coherent order of the body and the perispirit. This practice ensures that the internal flame of the vital fluid is not only conserved, but intensified, allowing the soul to awaken rejuvenated and structurally sound for the moral and physical challenges of the day ahead. The suggestion of repeating this deliberate harmonizing practice for a specific period of 9 consecutive nights is not an arbitrary rule, but is deeply rooted in the universal laws of cycles and spiritual gestation, principles subtly woven into the fabric of Kardec's framework of reincarnation and progress. In mystical numerology and across various ancient wisdom traditions, the number 9 holds profound significance, often symbolizing the culmination of a cycle, the final stage of evolution, or the complete preparation for a new beginning, most tangibly represented by the 9-month period of human gestation before birth. Applying this to the fluidic and moral realm, 9 nights offers the spirit and the perispirit the necessary duration for a profound, foundational shift in energetic habit. Energetic disharmony and illness are often the cumulative results of long-held negative mental and emotional patterns, years of anxiety, resentment, or fear, which have subtly corrupted the vital fluid and created permanent imbalances in the perispirit. Attempting to reverse this deeply ingrained pattern requires more than a single isolated act of intention. The 9-night commitment provides the essential temporal coherence needed to override the old chaotic patterns. Each night represents a gentle, continuous imposition of the new serene habit, systematically dissolving the old fluidic accretions and reinforcing the spirit's determination to align itself with harmony. The spirit, which is largely independent during sleep, uses this dedicated 9-night period to establish a powerful automated memory of peace in the fluidic envelope. By the final night, The initial effort is no longer a strained discipline, but a natural, almost involuntary descent into a state of profound receptivity. Kardec's laws of progress suggest that all transformation is gradual, requiring sustained effort and coherence of will. The 9 nights provide the minimum necessary period for the vital fluid, which is slower to change than the fleeting thought, but faster than the dense body, to be thoroughly reconditioned by the sustained moral intention, closing one cycle of chaotic energy and opening a new one marked by internal alignment and self-possession. Expanding our understanding of the hands as energy directors, ancient wisdom, which Kardec often found verifiable through mediumistic experience, attributed distinct spiritual and fluidic properties to each of the 5 fingers. These are not mere anatomical structures, but symbolic and functional extensions of the spirit's core faculties, and their conscious arrangement acts as a complex control panel for internal energy deployment. The thumb, being the strongest and most opposable, represents the faculty of willpower and self-control. When focused, it channels the power of deliberate, conscious choice. The index finger, traditionally used for pointing and direction, embodies thought and mental guidance. It is the instrument through which focused, articulated mental fluid is exteriorized. The middle finger, being the longest and central, symbolizes equilibrium and prudence, serving as the energetic anchor for balance within the perispirit. The ring finger, often associated with marriage and commitment, carries the fluidic quality of love, connection, and affection, channeling the powerful restorative energies of pure, unconditional sentiment. Finally, the pinky finger, the smallest, is said to be the channel for the soul's expression and intuition, the most subtle and delicate aspect of the spirit's communication. When the hands are joined or placed upon the body, the deliberate contact and alignment of these 5 channels create an amplified fluidic battery, far more potent than the simple action of the palms alone. The union ensures that the will is aligned with love, the thought is balanced by prudence, and the soul's intuition is allowed to express itself, a complex, simultaneous deployment of the spirit's highest faculties toward the single goal of systemic self-harmonization. This conscious recognition of the finger's individual roles transforms the gesture from a generalized act of resting into a precise, targeted alignment of the spirit's finest instruments, ensuring that the fluidic repair is not random, but meticulously guided by the highest moral and spiritual forces available to the incarnate being. If Allan Kardec taught one fundamental lesson regarding energetic work, it is the absolute supremacy of thought and intention over any physical ritual or external technique. The physical positioning of the hands, while helpful as a point of focus and a physical trigger, is ultimately the mere terminal, the physical expression of a far more profound mental emission. Kardec established that the fluid, whether it is the vital fluid of the individual or the universal cosmic fluid being drawn in, is intrinsically neutral. It is the human or spiritual thought that acts as the great modifier, imbuing the fluid with a specific property, direction, and healing attribute. The magnetizer, or in this case the self-magnetizer, does not heal by simply touching, but by the focused, pure, and coherent will and compassion that he or she radiates. Therefore, the true practice in the nightly gesture is not found in the precise arrangement of the fingers, but in the deliberate cultivation of a profound state of mental surrender and receptive trust. If the hands are placed impeccably, but the mind is raging with anxiety, resentment, or doubt, the emitted fluid will be chaotic, agitated, and counterproductive to the aim of healing. The hands will exteriorize disturbed fluid, not purifying magnetism. Conversely, even a slightly imperfect physical posture, if accompanied by a heart saturated with serene intention and a mind fixed on trust, will result in a powerful flow of purified, harmonizing fluid. This principle compels us to recognize that the 9-night cycle is first and foremost a moral exercise. It is a training regimen designed to quiet the ego's clamor, to let go of the day's petty struggles, and to assume the internal attitude of an humble, prepared vessel. The act of placing the hands is the final physical cue that tells the spirit, "The mind is now serene, the channel is clean, I am ready to receive and direct healing energy." This silent internal disposition of confidence and love is what transforms a simple gesture into a truly sacred and scientifically effective act of fluidic magnetization, aligned with the spirit's highest purpose. Kardec's rigorous research into the workings of the spiritual world ultimately led him to a concept that echoes across all the great global traditions: the existence of a pervasive, fundamental energy that permeates the universe, the universal cosmic fluid. This is the prime elementary matter, the vehicle and intermediary of all spiritual action and thought, occupying the entire expanse of space. As it condenses to interface with the world of matter, a specific concentrated derivative is formed, which Kardec termed the vital fluid. This vital fluid is essentially the principle of life itself, the energetic bridge that binds the spirit, the consciousness, to the physical body. It is the exact same substance referred to by the Hindus as prana, the Chinese as qi or chi, the ancient Hebrews as ruach, breath of life, and the philosophers of old as ether. In every instance, this fluid is recognized as the dynamic, life-giving essence that can be influenced, oriented, and amplified through the conscious application of thought and moral force. The constant exchange of this fluid is fundamental to life. We continually absorb it from the universal reservoir, particularly through breathing and consumption of vitalized food, and we radiate it out into our environment. When we sleep with the hands placed in a harmonizing position, we are deliberately tapping into this universal cosmic fluid, not with the intention of drawing it in aggressively, but of harmonizing our internal fluidic rhythm with the universal flow. This practice is like tuning a radio receiver. By seeking internal silence and establishing a closed, focused circuit, we eliminate the fluidic static caused by daily anxieties and mental distractions, allowing our system to resonate with the pure, orderly frequency of the cosmos. This silent attunement allows the spirit to efficiently direct the absorbed vital fluid to areas of need within the perispirit, ensuring that the energetic systems are not just topped up, but fundamentally resynchronized with the grand, intelligent rhythm that sustains all creation. It is a profound acknowledgement that we are not isolated physical beings, but permeable, fluidic extensions of a boundless, living universe. One of the most profound benefits of this intentional nightly practice lies in its capacity to facilitate a deep, fluidic cleansing, a moral and emotional detoxification of the perispirit. Kardec's teachings are clear. The fluidic envelope is instantly reactive to the state of the spirit. Negative emotions such as resentment, intense fear, unexpressed anger, or guilt do not merely vanish. They leave discernible fluidic residues, stains or regions of agitation and condensation within the perispirit. These accumulated fluidic impurities act as obstacles, impeding the natural circulation of the vital fluid and often preceding the onset of physical illness. The nightly emancipation of the soul, coupled with the intentional hand placement, creates the ideal passive environment for the spirit to begin this essential internal house cleaning. The serenity induced by the physical gesture helps to quiet the mind's usual defensive mechanisms, allowing the spirit in its semi-detached state to confront and gently dissolve these fluidic stains. As the heart and mind settle into a posture of profound trust and internal peace, the spirit is able to use the circulating, purified fluid to soften and disperse the fluidic coagulations caused by long-held sorrow or trauma. This liberation often manifests in the form of intense, clarifying dreams, unbidden tears upon waking, or the sudden, inexplicable resurgence of forgotten memories. These are not disturbances, but signals that the energy is actively cleaning its pathways. The practice teaches the system to let go, to release the emotional debris that the mind clung to during the day. By consistently placing the hands with a compassionate intention, we are, without words, instructing the spirit to forgive, to release, and to trust the natural restorative order. This fluidic cleansing is the very essence of spiritual healing, for it restores the coherence between the spirit and its fluidic vehicle, preparing the spirit for continued moral and intellectual evolution. The ultimate goal of this deliberate nightly practice, viewed through the comprehensive lens of Allan Kardec's philosophy, is nothing less than the achievement of perfect alignment and coherence between the spiritual core and its material instrument. The body, when viewed without spiritual understanding, can be perceived as an obstacle, a heavy, burdensome vessel prone to suffering and decay. However, Kardec presented the incarnate body not as a tomb, but as a vital, sophisticated instrument given to the spirit to facilitate its necessary trials and accelerate its moral progress. The quality of the spirit's incarnation, its ability to influence and direct its physical life, is entirely dependent on the coherence and purity of the perispirit. If the perispirit is agitated, stained by vice or disorganized by chaos, the spirit's beautiful intentions are translated poorly, resulting in frustration and missteps in the physical realm. The practice of resting the hands with loving intention serves to harmonize the magnetic field of the individual, which in turn restores the delicate order within the perispirit. This state of alignment is essential, especially during sleep, because it facilitates the emancipation of the soul. A spirit that is harmoniously anchored can detach more easily and purposefully during rest, traveling to higher, more constructive spiritual spheres, receiving beneficial instructions, or simply communing with elevated spirits without the chaotic interference of the body's magnetic disarray. By generating a fluidic field of internal peace, the individual ensures that the body shifts its role from being a source of fluidic friction and disturbance to a perfectly tuned receiver and conductor. This renewed alignment ensures that upon waking, the spirit's guidance, its intuition, its moral impulses, and its higher wisdom can be translated into clear thoughts and purposeful actions in the material world, transforming the body into a conscious and highly refined instrument of spiritual progress. As the 9th night completes its cycle and the 10th morning dawns, the transformation that has occurred is a quiet, profound victory of the spirit, a triumph that does not require fanfare or external validation. The true legacy of this simple, profound practice, synthesized from the enduring laws documented by Allan Kardec, is the irrefutable evidence that self-healing is fundamentally a return to the natural, inherent order of existence. It is not about acquiring a new power from an external source, but about rediscovering and trusting the vast, intricate intelligence that already resides within. The consistent, loving, and intentional placement of the hands during sleep has served as a physical act of obedience to the spirit's highest good, a permission slip granted to the soul to assume its role as the primary guide. The subtle shifts, the lighter heart, the clearer thought, the more compassionate perspective, are merely the external reflections of a profound fluidic and moral reorganization that has taken place in the sacred stillness of the night. You have moved beyond viewing the body as a thing to be controlled or a burden to be endured, and have restored its dignity as the spirit's most precious, subtle instrument. The technique, once an imposed exercise, has now woven itself into the fabric of your soul's memory, becoming an unconscious, effortless gesture of surrender and trust. This alignment is the core of Kardec's teaching, that the greatest healing force is the simple, pure concentration of universal love, channeled through a coherent mind and a compassionate will. Having demonstrated the capacity to heal yourself by the power of intention, you are now a more stable, harmonious, and magnetic presence in the world, and that serenity, like a gentle ripple, will inevitably expand to touch and elevate all those within your sphere. The practice ends, but the state of being begins.